This video covers how to find probabilities for a t-distribution without using a calculator, and so I just want to emphasize that probabilities always fall between 0 and 1, so you should never calculate a negative value or a value greater than 1. And so for a t-distribution, there are two types of probability problems. You can either have a less than problem or a less than or equal to problem, or you can have a greater than problem, which is the same as greater than or equal to. In both cases, you're going to be given the degrees of freedom and some value in your problem, and you're looking for the probability that is either less than or greater than that value. And so in terms of a graph, you're looking for the area under the curve that's either less than the value or greater than the value. So suppose that we have a t-distribution with 19 degrees of freedom. Find the probability that t is greater than 2.205. So if we look at a t-table, the t values are actually going to be inside the table. The degrees of freedom will be in the first column, and the probabilities will be at the top. And so in our problem, we have 19 degrees of freedom, and so we're going to look for the 19 degrees of freedom, follow the row across, and we want to find the range that our t value falls between. And in our case, we have 2.205, and that falls somewhere between 2.09 and 2.54. And so this tells us that our probability is going to fall between 0.01 and 0.025. Notice when using a t-table, we're always going to have a range. We won't have a specific probability. And so if you want the specific probability, you need to use a graphing calculator. Now, as for a less than problem, suppose we have a t-distribution with 27 degrees of freedom. Find the probability that t is less than or equal to 2.4. So in this case, we will look at the same table, and if you scroll down and look for your 27 degrees of freedom, you will go across the table and look for the range that holds 2.4. This time we have the exact same values of 0.025 and 0.01 for our probabilities, but because we read the t-table in terms of greater than problems, you need to take 1 minus each of these probabilities, and so your answer in terms of a less than problem, your probability will actually fall between 0.975 and 0.99. So in the next video, we're going to cover both of these examples, but using a graphing calculator.